The Nigerian Association of Government-Approved Freight Forwarders (NAGAFF) has called on the federal government to urgently implement comprehensive policy and structural reforms in Nigeria's maritime sector. The call was made by the executive chairman of NAGAFF Apapa chapter, Prince Eze Uchendu, while responding to questions from the NAGAFF Cargo Watch during a courtesy visit to his office in Lagos. Prince Uchendu attributed the growing challenges in the sector to frequent changes in the government policies, inadequate stakeholder consultation, and persistent operational bottlenecks, particularly at terminal operations, which he said have placed severe financial burdens on freight forwarders.
And the other way around now, the government needs much revenue. So the government should as well remember that the policies you are making in the industry like ours affects every Nigeria. Inflation and increment of charges and fees. You see, all these things fall down to the end users, which are the Nigerians. And when each time we talk about government revenue, custom, beating the record of last month, through which way? Forcing money out of the people. The government should as well dim their searchlight towards other areas to boost the economy, not only in the maritime industry. I want the government to at least do proper consultation with the stakeholders before making most of their policies and their decisions, because you see that over the year, the practitioner, the experts, those who go in and out of our seaport and border stations to do business nationwide, they are not being carried along in policy and in decision making, and this has really affected most of the decisions. Because when you make a decision that are not workable, the decision becomes a useless decision.
He stated that continued inefficiencies, foreign dominance in port operations, and inconsistent policy frameworks are crippling freight forwarding activities and negatively impacting the nation's economy.
The most critical challenges confronting freight forwarders are the terminal operators and the shipping companies. Most of the shipping companies in Nigeria do not have what it takes to operate in countries like ours. Some of them do not have machineries. Most of them do not have a proper holding base where their empty containers should be returned. I think that is the first thing the shipping line should. When you move around the streets of Lagos, you see containers littered everywhere. Why? Because there is no place for the trucker to drop these boxes. And at the same time, they keep a deaf ear, because even while you stay on the truck for 10 days looking for where to drop, you are paying them 60,000 or more per day. So they are indirectly milking Nigerians dry, the shipping companies. Then the terminal operators, is regrettable, is quite unfair that our nation's seaport, the biggest port in Africa, could be concession to foreigners who do not have one, manpower capacity, they do not have machinery, they do not even have the technical knowledge of how a seaport is being run.
Reflecting on developments in 2025, Uchendu noted that while business activities proved profitable for the government and its agencies, the year was largely disastrous for freight forwarders and importers. According to him, many freight forwarders suffered heavy financial losses, with some forced out of business, while importers and end users bore the consequences through increased costs of goods in the market.
I think last year, being year 2025, I think it was a very good one for the government, but a very bad one for freight forwarders. We have some challenges, some issues arising from inconsistency of government policies, change of modalities and thereabout. The practitioners on our own side, it was not easy for us. Most of our members went bankrupt. Some are still paying debt. associated to money they did not eat or make use of just to keep their clients. We have to incur some loss so as to be in business. So, and this year, I think when you assess this year, you make a preference of what you want the year to be. I want the government to at least do proper consultation with the stakeholders before making most of their policies and their decisions.
Prince Uchendu further criticized the Odogu custom clearance system, describing its structure as overly rigid. He explained that the system prevents freight forwarders from making additional declaration when importers unintentionally conceal items.
And I also want to make some appeal as regard to Odogu that I mentioned. When we were operating on NICES, in NICES, when you have your PAR, which is the pre-arrival assessment report, for instance, if the importer, the consignee, have declared 2 items to conceal 1 or 2, you are the agent, you as the freight forwarder. NICES allows you as a true Nigeria to make additional declaration at the DTI, at the place where you are capturing, to impute to the other 1 or 2 items that must have been concealed by previous handler, maybe your importer, out of ignorance. But now the Odogu does not allow you to make additional declaration. Then I'll begin to wonder, which government in the world set a system that rejects revenue? Because when you are adding item, you are adding fees, you are paying for it.
He also expressed concern over the duplication of processes between the national single window and the Odogu system, urging the federal government to harmonize both platforms to eliminate inefficiencies and operational confusion within the maritime sectors.
I cannot comprehend these two systems coming to play, because the national single window is a system on its own, the Odogu is a system on its own. I think it's a duplication of duty or duplication of process. If we are to go by Odogu, then unless maybe technically Odogu is lying on the national single window to operate, then we can manage it. But if the two can work perfectly without hinges and the hindrance to each other, well, we are here.
Geraldine Anyanwu reporting from NAGAFF Cargo Watch.